I recently started working with a client, and after just a few weeks together, she's been able to double her number of clients, which actually doubled her revenue. So, I want to share with you what we've been doing to make her life and business so much easier and to ensure consistent revenue and create a path for her to scale when she's ready. Because her story is very similar to all of the clients that I work with, and if you can relate, this will help you too. Welcome to my channel, Watch Her Rise. I'm your host, Liza Lounsbury. And before we dive in, I'd like for you to go ahead and click like and subscribe and share this with a coach who needs to hear it, or even yourself. It's these small acts of kindness and support that keep us aligned with the frequency of abundance, because gratitude matters, supporting each other matters, and it all counts. Okay, back to my client story. So this woman is also a mom. She's juggling the day-to-day of meals, of carpool, of after-school activities, of decisions in her marriage, of the holiday whirlwind that we're all in that can sometimes feel like a tornado of everything at once. Does that sound familiar? So here are 4 things that she was doing in her business that were actually creating barriers to her success. And once we addressed all 4, everything for her improved. And so the first thing that we did was I had her pick one platform to post on, because she was trying to juggle 3 as a single entrepreneur with no support, no team, all by herself. And truthfully, that really just pulls you away from your role as a coach, and it creates additional stress when things don't get results like you hoped. So that if you're posting on Instagram and you don't get as many likes or as views, or if you put something on Facebook and nobody shares it, but they shared it on Instagram, it creates this unnecessary stress that isn't even required. So here's what we did instead. She picked one platform, the one that she's gotten the most clients from, and she became an expert in that platform. And we did that by using the data that's available on each of the platforms. And if you're not using data, please go to the data. We need to be making data-driven decisions, not emotional-driven decisions. As CEOs, as entrepreneurs, that is just a little side bonus tip to anyone out here that's not currently doing that. Because you want to use the data to drive your decisions, meaning whatever of your last 10 posts got the most engagement, the most views from non-followers, the most likes, the most comments, you want to put that on repeat over and over and over again. And before you say, well, I don't want my audience to get sick of seeing the same thing, think of Burger King, think of Nike, think of Coca-Cola. Those are the only topics that those companies talk about on repeat. And the reality is, in the marketing world, your existing followers only see like 1 out of every 10 things you post anyway. So if they're seeing the same things, it's repetition for them. It's building your brand and your consistency, but they're not actually seeing them all the time. And if you're someone that is actually shifting your message and shifting what you're saying all the time, then it's actually harder for them to relate to you, to know what you do and how you can help them. So instead of posting on multiple platforms, go to one, get really good at that one, and then use the extra time that you were using to post on these other platforms. Use that to build offers, to build programs, to support the crap out of the clients that you do have. If you only have one client right now, they should feel extremely VIP. You have the ability right now to give that level of service, and that's what you need to be doing. The more that you work with your clients, the more you're going to learn about what they need. This is going to give you scripts and words that you can use in your marketing. This is going to make you a better coach. If you don't want to do that, if you don't want to build your offers and your programs, then also think about relationships outside of social media. The things that actually create revenue, meaning when you get out and enjoy your life, and you're living in joy, you're working on your frequency. You're working on your energetics. Not to mention, the easiest way as a coach to get more clients is to go meet people, get to know them, tell them what you do, and offer to help. It's the basics. So often we get so stuck in this dream world of my business is going to grow passively. My clients are going to come to me and I'm going to be a 7-figure business owner on Instagram. That we forget the basics, that we don't have, tomorrow Instagram could go away. And if it does, and if that's your only business platform, if that's all you have for marketing, you won't have a business anymore. So you want to take the business with you. You are the business. You're the business when you're out with your friends. You're the business when you're out shopping. You're the business when you're on vacation. And so you want to embody that instead of scrolling, liking and commenting on other people's posts. Those are actually not revenue generating activities. They don't contribute to your identity. They don't contribute to the knowledge and wisdom that you can share with your clients. They don't contribute to your ability to generate revenue. Okay? So that's the first thing that we did. We picked one platform and she got really good at that one platform. The second thing we did was we switched her mindset from a place of lack and scarcity to that of abundance. From these thoughts that were overwhelming her of, what should I post today to get followers? What will it take for me to go viral? Which photo should I use that people are going to want to, that's going to get more likes? Instead, the focus was, what should I post today to help followers, to help my audience, to help someone with this problem? What is something that I did yesterday that would help someone if I shared it and gave them the steps and the pathway to get there? Because remember, we don't have to be the cream of the crop. What we have to be is one step ahead. And so that one shift from lack to abundance, from, what do I need to post to make sales? Instead of thinking that way, we were thinking, what do I need to post today to help people? That created a higher frequency for her to operate from. It was a frequency of abundance, meaning when she showed up online, she showed up in a place of, there are already 1,000 people lined up waiting for what I have to offer, versus how am I going to find the next client? Completely different energy. And remember that the laws of attraction are clear. We attract like energy. So when you're operating from lack, you attract lack. And what that can look like is attracting clients that challenge your prices, that say they can't afford what you offer, that aren't ready for the type of transformation that you offer, that criticize everything you post. But when you're operating from service and abundance, you're going to attract aligned clients that want the service that you offer, that are looking and operating from an abundant mindset, that are in this growth development period of their life. We want to attract people there, not the people that are so problem focused right now. They just want to talk about the problem. And we've all been there. I've been there. We all go through different seasons of life. We're at different stages of awareness. And so it's really important that when you are showing up, that the stage of awareness that you're putting out there into the world is the stage of awareness that you want to attract back. So that was the second thing we did, was shift her mindset. And that became apparent when I gave her some tools and some tricks and some things to do on a daily basis to check in with herself. There's a way that you can actually measure your energetic frequency. There's a question process you can go through. And there are certain things that you can be doing that will ensure you stay in that alignment. And when you're not in that alignment, there's also certain things you can do to get back in that alignment. So it's really important to understand that. So then the third step was we worked on her identity. So the version of herself, which this is so paramount. And honestly, I think that the coaching world of 2026, we're going to see a lot more verbiage around identity. Now, this topic, this concept has been around since the beginning of time. The verbiage hasn't been used as such. But what we saw in the boom of affiliate marketing in 2023, which is still trickling over, were so many that got inspired by the idea of being able to sell someone else's product and earn income. And then when that didn't come to fruition, there were lots of frustration around, why her and not me? And so the importance here is understanding that money doesn't care about ethics or morals. Money cares about who you are and whether or not you identify as someone worthy of having it. So there was actually a study, and Jim Rohn brought this up in one of his seminars that he was giving years ago, where he said that if we took all the money in the world today and we divided it evenly amongst all the different classes, the poor, the middle class, and the rich, everybody had the same amount. Within a short amount of time, it would end up back in the hands that it started with, simply because the poor, when given large amounts of money, think about someone that wins the lottery or someone that comes from poverty and becomes I think Justin Bieber right now. He just had to sell one of his big labels because he was broke. And so if that is your background, if that's your relationship with money, if you grew up in poverty and you are handed $100,000, your mind is automatically on a frequency of thinking of all the things you need to, should, and can purchase. You're going to take your family out to eat to celebrate. You're going to go upgrade your furniture. You're going to go and get a new outfit so that the world knows now that you aren't poor. But what's happening is your subconscious is actually feeling uncomfortable because this isn't the norm. This isn't your identity. This isn't what you identify with. And so it's creating opportunities for you to release the money, to get back to your energetic frequency, your actual baseline of money, where your body feels safe from operating from. Back to we can barely pay our bills every month. We don't have savings. When the kids ask for something, say, not today. So that's why identity is super important. So if you don't do the work to become the person that holds on to the money, that uses the money to invest in other opportunities to make more money, then you will easily blow the money. And so, for example, another coach that I was working with, she said, Liza, I've earned 5 figures several times and I'm still broke. She said, I do not understand, but it seems like every month it just, more things come up, more expenses happen. And so I explained to her that there's something called revenue creep. And so what that means is as your revenue goes up, your bills creep up. And so your expenses creep up, your lifestyle creeps up. The golden ticket here is if your revenue can creep up, but you stay the same and start using this revenue to invest in other ways to create more revenue and more revenue and more revenue, what's going to eventually happen is you're going to have more than enough money to support the lifestyle that you want while you continue to generate revenue passively. But the biggest difference here is, so wealthy people, when they end up with a big cash injection, they invest it. They think, how can I use this to make more? They don't see that as income. They don't see it as cash. They don't see it as something that they can spend. Versus me, I know, for example, that when I first started manifestation back in 2020, the goal was to pay off our $282,000 in debt. But the first bonus check that came in, we spent it all on house repairs that we said had to happen, that were necessary. But the reality is that none of it was necessary. It could have waited. I was literally just trying to keep up with the Joneses. so that the front door paint was, a new fresh color, and that the landscaping outside looked nice. None of that was necessary. And if I would have simply taken that money and put it towards the debt or put it towards a rental property to generate rental, income, that would have solved our financial issues. But I couldn't do that because I wasn't there personally. I had to shift who I was. So when we did this identity work, she became the coach who was already earning what she wanted to earn. And so some questions that I asked her regularly were, how would she feel when she was earning 10 grand a month? What would she be doing? How would she show up online? How would she show up in her life? All the way down to her daily routine for optimal health. Because what she realized is she kept envisioning and manifesting, but everything was in the future. Meaning she could see herself on a stage presenting to a crowd, wearing a nice outfit. She could see herself doing lives on her Instagram feed, providing valuable information with a call to action where people are commenting the keyword. She could see that she had a body that made her feel sexy when she went out and did things. But in her life, what she was doing was sitting on the couch with her phone and her laptop posting, maybe taking a shower in the evening, maybe taking it in the morning, exercising when she felt like it. So these two things weren't aligned. So she was envisioning and manifesting from a place of not embodying. And so once she started embodying the version of herself who was already successful, her business started reflecting that identity. So she was taking care of herself and doing the things that she was going to do, that she envisioned herself doing. She was creating the feelings that allowed her to, enjoy the success. She wasn't waiting for the success to have the feeling. She was showing up in her relationships as though she just walked off a stage after a conference where she was invited as a keynote speaker. So there's a difference here. Because if you're still the pajama wearing, couch sitting, posting coach, those are the results you have and will continue to have until you shift your identity. Now, the last thing we did, number 4, we created one irresistible high ticket offer. And this became her sole focus on recruiting clients, what she talked about in her content. This was the only focus she had. And the reason that we did this was multifold, but for her in particular, personality and archetype do well with singular focus. Without it, she is easily distracted. And prior to this, she had 7 different things, a couple of freebies, a couple of low ticket master classes that she had offered, a 3-day workshop that she had done, a self-paced course that she had. And so it was like her content was bipolar. It was manic. It was, do you want this or do you want this or do you want this? And if you want this. And so without a clear focus, she felt all over the place and she couldn't really nail her messaging. And once she had an offer that she knew the market wanted, because we modeled it after one of the mentors that she follows online that's got like 1.5 million followers, who has been selling this thing for 7 years. She had the confidence and belief that her mission was good and that she had exactly what people needed to solve their problem. And to be perfectly honest, the mentor that she's been following that sells an offer that's very similar doesn't even have the credentials she has. She has the degree. She has the license. She has a certification. Whereas the mentor used lived experience. So I explained to her, she is worthy of those results. She just has to believe it. But that energy alone of creating the one irresistible offer that she knew the market wanted, that she knew modeled after one of the mentors that was already selling it, this gave her the energy to attract her ideal clients. So if you resonate with any of this, I want to let you know that I have some great Black Friday deals going on right now with several of my programs for coaches who are ready to earn high cash months without all the stress or fear. So, like my Peace with Money program, like my 21 Days to Becoming Abundant, or my personal special, my 7-day Release Trap Trauma audio challenge. And then I even have a VIP intensive for my 5 weeks to 5K program. And that's actually 50% off right now. All of them are on incredible deals. And these are for the coaches that know that you have things that you need to work through when it comes with your relationship with money, or your comfort with being visible, having more money, being visible as someone showing up, discussing money, or selling your programs, or earning more money. Or if you're like me and there's some discomfort around knowing that for 20 years of your life you built this career. I've been a nurse. I went to, I did all the things. I checked all the boxes. And so when I came out with this desire to run my business to help women around the world step into their abundant lifetime, because we are all worthy, and I'm thinking of the generations and the legacies that we get to leave behind, because abundance is not just money. Abundance is becoming more, from the inside out. This is how our lives get rich with love and peace and fulfillment. This is how we align with our purpose. I realized that the path that I was on as a nurse was almost temporary in the sense that it taught me all the things that I needed to know to help you heal so that you can step into that highest version of yourself. That's why I learned everything about nervous system, about subconscious programs, about wealth expansion, about energetics, about nervous system regulation, all these things that help to overcome depression, anxiety, PTSD. Without my experience, I wouldn't be who I am today. My clients wouldn't be getting the results they're getting. But that is a huge life shift. And when it first happened, I hid it. I was scared. I thought, what are people going to think? Like, why is she a nurse? And we had paid off debt before I opened this business. And so they're thinking, why would she stop doing what she's doing? She just paid off all of her debt. Now she wants to go without a paycheck? There were all these limiting beliefs that were popping up in my mind that I really had to heal in order to fully embrace my role in this season of life that I've been called to lead. And so if that's you, reach out, and I'd love to share with you the different programs that I have, how they have helped clients along the way, what they provide, and that way we can decide what exactly would work best for you to help you take your life and business to the next level in a way that feels really, really good, authentic, you, and takes your story and uses it in the best way possible. I'll talk soon. Take care.